Pledge of allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Fire evacuation. In case of emergency, you can exit the doors in the back of the room, or you could go out the door to my left, your right, down the stairs and away from the building. Roll call. Excuse me. Oops. Oh, you dropped your little phone.
I got it. Thank you. I'm going to bring glue.
Yeah, there you go.
They'll need glue. Thank you. Donna Corbin-Savinsky.
Here.
Kevin Zorda.
Here.
Virginia Higley. Here. Kelly Hemler.
Here.
Dylan Bridge.
Here.
Ann Collins.
Here.
Ken Kaufman.
Here.
Chris Renaud.
Here.
And Robert Gillespie's absent.
Okay, thank you. Public communications and petitions. Is there anybody in the audience who want to speak on items not on the agenda? Anybody want to speak on items not on the agenda? Seeing none. Correspondence, we have none. Next is minutes from the preceding meeting of September 2nd. Let's get a motion.
Yeah, I will make a motion to accept the minutes of September 2nd, 2025.
Okay.
Second.
Kelly?
I actually have one thing. I mean, the I in fire is capitalized in the second line. I don't know if that's an issue or
No, that's a nice catch.
it just
Yep, that's fine.
might be a thing.
I have one thing. Under Rick's name, under the roll call, there's an extra L-E on the end.
Okay. That's good.
Who read it?
Anything else? Can you amend your motion?
As amended.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Donna Corbin-Savinsky.
Yes.
Kevin Zorda.
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Kelly Hemler.
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Yes.
Ann Collins.
Abstain.
Ken Kaufman.
Yes.
And Chris. Is Chris?
No, Chris isn't seated. No.
No, okay.
Six in favor, one abstain, motion passes. Because everybody's here on the, except for alternates, so we're good.
Oh, okay.
There's no town attorney report, no continued public hearings, no new hearings, no old business, new business. IW 717, 75 Oliver Road, modification of a wetland permit for a single-family home, Huron Homes LLC, applicant owner, map 47, lot 63, R44 zone. Hey. Excuse me. Could you state your name and address for the records, please? Oops.
Reinhard von Hollander, 14 Brainerd Road, West Hartford, Connecticut.
Attorney Richard Case, 10 Tower Lane, Avon, Connecticut. Pardon?
Could you explain your application?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're here.
Actually, Mr. Van Hollander will do it, but we're here for a modification of an approved plan. And I think what we will do is just concentrate on the modifications and the responses from the staff and our responses to it. Okay?
So the modification request was submitted August 8th, 2025. The backstory is we proposed the construction of a single-family residence with associated improvements on 2.9 acre parcel that I own, that Heron Homes LLC owns, 75 Oliver Road, Enfield, in a R44 zone with frontage along Oliver. Wetland delineation was performed by Matt Davison, soil scientist. A lot of acronyms identifying Skidco, Shaker, and Mavid soils as wetland soils and Bancroft and Vinaigrette soils as uplands. The site maintains 2.44 acres of wetlands. Notably, these soils are documented as having a water table at or near the surface much of the year or a seasonal high water table, limiting practicality of deeper excavation or a true basement. The original plan approved under IWWA permit number 699 was fully compliant with zoning and wetlands regulation during construction. Minor field adjustments to grading were made to better fit existing site conditions and respond to groundwater elevations, while maintaining the same project purpose, layout, and utilities. These refinements resulted in a net reduction of disturbance within the regulated area. The impacted area was wetlands, upland review area. Approved disturbance was 16,624 square feet. The revised disturbance was 14,588, approximately 1,000 feet less. This equates to approximately 1,036 square foot less in disturbance within the regulated area compared to the approval. The protection of the wetlands, hydrology, preserved stormwater flow continues to be direct westward to the wooded wetland consistent with pre-development drainage. No new impacts, no additional activities are proposed within the wetlands. The modifications reflect only minor grading adjustments. E&S controls have been attained. Biogradable perimeter controls, stabilized construction entrance, phased stabilization, and site inspections remain in place. Hardship and least impact alternative. The delineated soils are characterized by high seasonal groundwater. Constructing a true basement would require excavation into saturated soils and potential dewatering, which could adversely affect adjacent wetlands. The refined grading approach provides compliance with zoning via variance, avoids unnecessary excavation, and reduces disturbance, representing the least impact alternative available. Conclusion. The modification to the IWWA permit number 699 formalizes field fit grading adjustments that reduce disturbance, maintain wetlands functions, and respect site hydrology while consistent with the approved design intent. Respectfully submitted, Krazert, Jones, and Associates. And there's some additional material that shows the street line with the removal of the trees in the wetlands area that provided the sight line, and that would be to the east on Oliver at the intersection of Post Office and Oliver. So that clearly has been completed. Stumps have been removed and the area has been graded. The next picture shows a picture of the area that collected water. I brought in stone 5 to 8 inch river rock to create more of a aesthetic appeal to just a wetlands area that just collected water and then dissipated it over time. Did that on both the east side and the west side of the driveway. The reinforced concrete pipe was installed, and it was then capped on each end. Excuse me, I'll retrade that. Not capped, but then encapsulated with the 5 to 8 inch river rock and Marafi geofabric. Okay, design there probably, wasn't the best as it. The driveway bifurcated the area that was typically flowed from the west to the east. The driveway material was removed and had to go down below the heavy layer of this black organic soils that I spoke of earlier, and that was then moved to around the foundation, and the sub base was then brought into. So that really bifurcated the wetlands there, and the improvements were with the area of river rock to the west and to the east that do collect the seasonal or the rainfall when it comes. And everybody that knows this piece knows that was a low area and that it collected water, which used to be in the gutter, now is coming into these areas that we created, and then they dissipate over some time. I did recently plant a bunch of species in there that are typically inhabit the wetlands area, cattails, some wildflower seeds, et cetera. I'd been waiting most of the summer to to plant those, as this is a germination time that's appropriate now for that type of species. Now you can see, the next picture, you can see the driveway that was put in. You can see the base material that was brought in, and all the grading is consistent with the grading plan all the way back to the house. It's a long driveway back to the house, and that's consistent with the grading. And you can see to the side yard, it was graded to, there's a stump pile there of the material that came out. We're giving that a time to dry out, so it's not water saturated. And you can also see on the left side facing the house of an area that was graded, and it's graded to the west side in accordance with the plan. So that's pretty much what I got, and we'll be open to any questions. I'm assuming that you all have plans. If you don't have plans, I have a couple extra sets of 24 by 36 here, along with all the other copies of the information that was provided.
Richard Case, I'd also like to point out that there was, in the staff comments, especially from the planning and zoning, that all of these have been answered by the engineer from Cressert and Jones, and specifically, and I just want to mention too, it was that the comment was that there was no decrease in the disturbed area. That's not correct. It was, as Mr. Van Hollander just said, over 1,000 square feet of less disturbance. That what was placed in those two drainage areas on either side of the driveway was, he has fully explained that. And then lastly, that about the question about the slab, the deck in the back has been removed, is going to be put onto the side. Actually, if you look at the plan, the new plan, that's a much better place for it. That's much less intrusive into the wetlands. So with that, we would wait for any comments from the commission.
Thank you. So we did speak with the applicant's attorney earlier today. The comments that you see before you on the staff report are as of September 4th, when I had sent them out to the applicant. There is an update to one of the comments for specifically the engineering department, because it was under review at the time. The engineering department has commented, the site changes should have little effect to the site drainage. The partial is very flat and will occasionally hold water as originally designed or constructed. And then just to kind of build off of the comments that we as staff had, I had never received formal responses to the comments I had given out at the time. And as a kind of review from our discussion with the attorney this morning, I had asked what was installed in these drainage areas. It appears to be a pair of holes in the ground with crushed stone. And the town engineer had said that there should be a little effect on the drainage, so that's less of a concern. I had never received another copy of plans showing whether the new deck size is still going to be 10 by 14 or if it's going to be a 12 by 14, as there was conflicting deck sizes on the 2 pages. The wattles were missing on the revised site plan and should be added on the new site plan. As they stated, they will move the deck from the rear of the house to the side. As I stated, I haven't received any new plans yet showing where that's going to be. And I'm still not sure as to how the disturbed area is going to be less, as on the original plans, it showed that the whole parcel was wooded, and them proposing to change the grading doesn't necessarily mean that there's less disturbance. It just means that there's less soil either being added or moved around or whatever. They still had to clear the trees. They still had to stump the trees. So as far as I'm aware, the amount of disturbance still remains the same. The narrative also claims that the application was fully compliant with the zoning regulations when it came in. The original approval allowed for slab on grade construction, which is in violation of section 4.10.2. And later in the narrative, it states that refined grading provides compliance with a variance. Approving grading does not give them the approval to do slab on grade. If grading is approved, they will still need to go before the Zoning Board of Appeals, where they may be able to be approved for slab on grade. And lastly, I had some confusion as to exactly which plan we were going with for the modification, as one page showed the approval that was put in with the building permit with one set of grading, and then the second page showed more of the site of as it is right now. I had asked for a little bit of clarification as to exactly which modification they were aiming to use, as the page with the grading to raise it out of the high water table still had the pipe that would go under the driveway, as the second page had the river rock drainage basins instead. So I was still uncertain as to which one it is. Our conversation with the attorney, Rich Case, this morning stated that they believe that they're going with that second page on page S1 is the modification that they are seeking. But as I stated, there's still two different drainage plans on each page, so it's kind of confusing as to exactly which modification they wanted to do, whether they wanted to have the higher grading or whether they wanted to go with less grading and then seek that approval for a slab on grade variance. Would you like to add, Rick?
Yeah, I'll give you basically a chronological order of actually why we're here tonight. Wetlands approved the site plan based on the wetlands requirements. In July 10th, actually, of 2024, a building permit was applied for and submitted in with attachments. The construction plans attached to that application showed a basement area. The site plan, or the attached survey grade plan, had a grade of 120 with the basement at 121, which is not allowed under the zoning regulations. You have to have a full basement, or one section regarding cellars allows for 50% of the habitable space to be 3 feet below grade. So I sent off an email on 7/18 regarding that the site plan and the construction print did not match. I didn't get a response to that email. On September 9th of 2024, there was a revised site plan that was attached. That revised site plan is actually the modified plan that you're looking at right now with the higher grade around the house itself. That's what was submitted in as a site plan for me to approve the building permit, which I did based on that. However, on September 28th, new construction plans were submitted to the building department, and at the time, the software didn't notify me or anyone that modifications or additional building construction plans were submitted, so I never saw those. Those plans didn't show a basement at that time. All right, so as time went on, and as a matter of fact, page 4 that showed the basement from the original construction print was removed from those plans. It's not attached. And I didn't realize this, but on November 26th, the foundation plan was added to the building permit. That had only 2 elevations on it, one at 118 for the grade around the structure and 119 for the top of wall, which I'm assuming is the top of foundation. We did not get a hard copy in planning and zoning of the foundation as-built. In March 12th, 2025, I received a hard copy of the foundation plan. The applicant was advised that it wasn't acceptable based on the elevations and no basement for the house, nothing at 3 feet below grade. I sent an email off on 3/4/25 regarding that matter. And on 3/7, I issued a cease and desist for a zoning violation because of the lack of a basement. On August 6th of this year, we had a meeting with the applicant and discussed means of rectifying the situation. One of the means is, I guess, by raising the grade around the house to now put a portion of it 3 feet below grade. The question is, where is that material going to come from? Number one, is it being brought in, or is it being graded off the existing property? And the situation, as it stands right now, if this is denied by wetlands for the grading application, then the applicant would have to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals to get a variance to then allow the house to continue on being built without a basement. So that's kind of where we stand at this point in time.
I was wondering if they would go to them first, because wouldn't it make a difference on what they approved?
Well, it depends on what you approve also. I mean, if you approve the grading plan,
Either way, it has to come.
it doesn't really matter at this point. It's one way or the other.
No, they're not doing
Excuse me, I
wetlands.
just had to take a point of order
Very
about that. If the commission doesn't approve the grading plan, we're back to square one.
Or you can
Approve
go,
the grading plan, and then the requirement of the town is that we go to get a variance, then we can go get a variance. But you can't, if you table the grading plan, we have nothing to go forward with.
the other issue is
Bastard.
the site plans that were approved has a basement foundation or basement level at 121.20. The final plans, site foundation plan and final as-built plan, I'm sorry, not the as-built plan, but the final plan show the foundation at 118.
119.
Section,
That's not correct. It's 119.84.
okay, 119.
Well,
Excuse me. Either way, an approved plan under the Enforcement Administration for foundations cannot go below what was approved. It was approved at 120, it's below that, 121.20, as a matter of fact. It's below that. You can go up 6 inches, that's allowable under the regulations, but you can't go below what was approved. The only way you can do that is with a engineering's report that's submitted for review by the Planning and Zoning Office to determine a viable reason for that change. That hasn't been done at this point.
I think there's a lot of ambiguity with this project, and I think there's a lot of loose ends that aren't tied off, and I think that it may require going back to those things and getting those tied off before anything proceeds, because if the house isn't up to code, that alone is a red flag for anyone going to purchase the property. I pass this house every day that I go to work, and even an inch of rain floods the entire area and turns the whole thing into a swamp. So I'm really not sure why we even approved this to begin with without a proper drainage or sediment control plan. And I wanted to see a soil perk test or some sort of report done by a geotech to show that the ground is permeable enough to allow the water to run off effectively. And the catch basins, or whatever they are right now, clearly aren't working, because I really don't have enough confidence even in the revised site plan to justify going forward with this and then having the homeowner who buys this house to have their driveway flooded every time it rains or snows. So it's really hard to make any adjustments or calls on this without a site plan that doesn't contradict each other. The fact that the house isn't up to code, it's going to flood no matter what. And you said that there's no really delineation on, rectification of how the water is going to be distributed. So I don't know if there's like an upsize in a drainage pipe that we can put to allow that water to pass through, because I'm sure all of you have seen it. You know, Oliver Road's a very traffic.
Did you say there's a pipe in, because basically you have that constructed now. Is there a pipe going under the garage to between those two?
The garage?
I mean, driveway?
Driveway, yes. So if you look at the plan,
Because it's not on the plan.
it's on the plan. It's they didn't pick it up because it's covered with the stone for safety purposes, okay? Because the way it was designed originally by the town, the flared ends, okay? You can see if you go back to the approval on
What sheet are you looking at?
March 4th, 24, the site plan,
Which is sheet 2 of 4.
sheet 2 of 4.
Right.
Okay.
So is this the one you're going to go with, or
That's the
what it
one
is
that's
now?
built. That's the one that's built. So I can walk you through this because I was on this site while this construction was going on. If you look at the spot elevation of 118.6, that's the gutter of the road.
Yeah.
That's the gutter of the road. If you look at the elevation of the 12-inch RCP, the reinforced concrete pipe that we put in with flared ends, and then we put the riprap on top of it too, okay? Because, all right? And you look at the spot elevation on top of that, that's 119.2.
So the 12-inch pipe is in there?
The 12-inch pipe is in there, absolutely in there, okay? And as you move up 20 feet, it's 119.4, and it continues to go up all the way to the 122.
So let me just ask you that. So what is page S1? That's showing what it looks like now from, because I drive by every day.
Okay, so S1 doesn't show the RCP underground because they didn't know it was there because of the 5 to 8 inch riprap around it, okay? They didn't know it's there, and that's an easy clarification. We can do that. And also, I may add that the finish elevations are not in yet because we haven't put the bituminous driveway in yet, all the way up into the garage.
Have you been over there today?
I've been over there every day, sir.
So
I
drive by every day, and after the heavy rain, there was no water in there, and it was just water right next to it.
There was water in the gutter. There was no water in the driveway, so that counters
Well,
your.
yeah, no,
okay?
'cause
I am
that's
up there.
to the right of the right side driving by, and there was water this morning. There was water in it. And it had
Absolutely.
dropped,
There was water in there this morning
but there was also a larger puddle
in the area that we cleared the
collection right
stumps.
next to it.
Yep, which had always been historically had gone there.
So is this really effective if that water's still there?
Well, the drainage basins were never designed. I include those for an aesthetic appeal instead of just having water in a gutter. As you both said, you had seen water in the gutter when you're headed west on the north side of Oliver. Okay, you see it in the gutter. That's where it's always gone. It was just overgrown there. Okay, we removed the stumps, and there we go. We got the same drainage off of Oliver coming from that area that comes off of Oliver. That's the low spot. Historically, it's been the low spot going all the way back to the Tyler land. Okay, that's been the low spot. I own behind it at 100, so I'm aware of like what's going on back there. Okay, I've been very aware of what's going on. I'm on that site all the time. We had a 2.65 rain event back like a month ago.
Yeah.
We'll probably pull up that date. I was up there, I was checking it. There's no impact to the house whatsoever. There's no impact to the driveway, and the gutters are working fine. I'm calling the gutters the drainage areas. I created a more significant, I enhanced the drainage areas by putting 5 to 8 inch river rock in there, so it looked like an aesthetic versus just looking like a place that you could drive off the road and fall into.
But you covered the pipe with weed fabric
With what fabric?
The
Geofabric.
the geofabric?
Absolutely.
and then stone over that.
Yes, sir.
Is that not going to slow down the flow?
There's no flow that can make it in there because by design, that structure wasn't set, by the lay of the land, that structure was not set low enough. There's no flow between the two. The driveway bifurcates the flow.
Well,
It cuts
but
it
isn't
off.
that the reason you put a pipe in?
Yeah, but the pipe is higher than the grade.
So then why have a pipe?
Well, that was sort of my contention when we installed it.
I think when we talked about it before, we put the pipe in so the water would continually flow. 'Cause it's supposed
Kevin,
to-
actually, I remember him making a comment exactly about that, and you were
Because I'm
actually
worried
hesitant.
about the farm.
Yeah, because we,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
The farm actually drains to me now.
right.
So
and
my
that's what
piece
I'm
is a-
concerned with, if that backs up there, what happens upstream?
It's a large site. The impact is very small. It's a
That
2.9
was
acre
always
site,
my
and the area
That
that
was a
we,
concern, and that's why we said we wanted the pipe.
Yeah,
And you wanted to make it bigger than what it was.
yeah.
so it's a 12-inch RCP. If I put it lower, it's below grade. The flared end is below grade.
Is there a way for us to get a soil scientist out there to do a drainage test to confirm, or is that
More an
not up to
engineer.
us?
It's not
No.
it's more an engineer.
I just wish I
an
had
engineer.
the numbers in front of me, but I didn't.
Yeah, because the,
How about our engineering department?
well, there's,
She mentioned.
So our engineering department did go out there. It was either early this morning or yesterday. They did take a look at what was going on the site, and they said that the drainage that the applicant is proposing now will not be greatly changed in terms of the proposed drainage that they had before. So it's largely going to
as it
function similarly. The water's going to sit there, and the water will dissipate however it's going to dissipate. So in terms of drainage effectiveness, it does not appear to be much different from what they had been previously approved for.
Yeah, there's got to be a revised site plan or something to show that the drainage is going to go down or something, because I'm not convinced, even with a new site plan, that water is going to go anywhere, especially if that geofabric doesn't allow the permeability of the water to allow for it to go through. Yeah, then what's the point? I get that it's an aesthetic, but it's got to work
now,
too.
so we're talking about 3 different areas. Okay, if you look back on the plan, I can walk you through this. If you look back at the plan that has the illustrations on it, with the narrative on it,
Page one? Which page? Page,
it's the last page.
so after page 2 of 2. After page 2 of 2.
Commissioners, he's talking about the narrative, not the site
The
plan.
narrative. What you're looking at there is the northeast side of the intersection from post office down several hundred feet along the area that was cleared for sightline. And that is the area both Mr. Bridge and Mr. Zorda commented that said that area had water in it. And yes, it always did, and always had water in it, whether it was pre-construction, pre-stump removal, that area collected water. That's the lowest spot. Okay, and it takes water from across the intersection, and it takes water from Post Office Road, and it channels down there. The stumps were removed. There was no material taken out there. Stumps were removed, and it was graded to the point where it was flat. Now, that area is collecting water. I propose actually to just enhance that a little bit and make all of that body just one. Okay, that is the absolute low spot. Okay, flipping to the second page, you can see the area that we put the 5 to 8 inch stone around, aesthetically enhancing the value of that wetlands area. The area that I spoke of prior to this, which is the northeast of this, now is coming into this area and pooling because it's lower than the area that the depression was originally in, okay, when the area was cleared. Okay, so that's the stone area number 1, the stone, stormwater area number 1. Okay, and you can see it on the next page as well. And if you will notice right by the sign, the for sale sign and the 75 Oliver sign, there's additional 5 to 8 inch stone. Okay, and that's the area that it was proposed by the engineers to put in the RCP, which is in. So just follow me now. If we went down in grade of that RCP, we would be below the road and below the flow line from one area to the next. Am I making any sense? Okay, so if that RCP was below it, it would have no way of picking up the water, okay? Because the grade elevations on the side were higher. So so now we're gonna flip, you see the front elevation of the driveway that was put in, and then you see to that other elevation, and then that. There's not a really good information or a good illustration in these of the area. You can see it beyond the sign, and similar in shape to the 5 to 8 inch that was there, just to clarify that. There is standing water there. There always has been standing water there at a storm event. There's no drainage in the road there. It's been historically the low spot of that larger site that flows all the way through there. So I'm not denying that there's not standing water there. There's standing water there. I just wanted to enhance the value of the standing water by, it was a significant expense. 5 to 8 inch river rock or round rock is expensive. So again, the gutter is lower at the driveway. It goes down and it goes up by design, so that the house is from the garage floor 120/37 back to the 119. It comes up about 1.5 feet, and that's about exact. That's what you're looking at from here to here. It has a little bit of a flat spot, a low on the side of the road of 118.6, and then a flat spot, or actually increases grade to 119.2, which was cover for that the RC reinforced concrete pipe. And then it gradually comes up a couple of tenths per, it actually increases a little bit, and then it flattens out as it gets closer. And then it's got a 2.4% pitch away, which goes in and around the house and goes back into that drainage area. So a couple of things are happening here. Not only is water coming from the side of the road, but it's also coming from the entire site, from behind 100 Post Office and on all the other houses that abut me. So that'd be 98 and 96. And 92, all this watershed comes all the way down through this area. And it does take a couple of days to dissipate on the northeast side the most. The northwest side dissipates quickly. So as of this morning, when I was on the site with the town building official for 100 Post Office, I had observed that the northeast side still had about 6 to 8 inches of water in it. So it does take 2 to 3 days to dissipate completely, goes into the ground, and that's.
So my question, so the way you have these built, it looks like a good at least 6 inch lip around it with that 5 to 8 inch stone. Wouldn't it be better if that wasn't there so that the groundwater, so it could just flow into this retention area?
So are you looking at the picture?
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the northeast side?
Yeah.
I propose that I reduce that down and channel that in and actually possibly bring in another load of stone. Because what we saw is once we removed the stumps to get the sight line, the 192 feet of sight line that we needed, that area collected water, and then it was high coming into the area of that was originally there. So it created a low spot that was lower than what was there in the past. So I mentioned to my guys that maybe we may want to see what the actual site condition looks like and how much we would have to cut from there in order to relieve that spot that Mr. Bridge and Mr. Zorda saw on that area. That's, you can see it's pretty clear because it's got that real organic-y black wetlands type looking soil to it. It's very clear when you drive by that it's very different than what's in the higher areas of the site.
Yeah, I mean, I know this spring, I saw your poor roofing guys who had to walk through the foot of muck.
Yeah. Before any of the driveway went in, so what we did is we cut the material out, as I explained to Mr. Heine and Mr. Rochelle, that we took the material out of the driveway and placed it around. So we did not import any material. The material had that deep organic material had to come out of there, and we had to put in a sub-base that was suitable for a driveway structure. It was unfortunately deeper than we anticipated. But the only material that was imported was for the sub-base of the driveway, which is a standard accepted practice, engineering practice.
So how much are we looking to increase the grade around the house?
If you look at the grading plan on page S1, you'll see the grade lines.
Yep.
You'll see the 120 around it, and then around the other side is the 118. I don't have a calculation for you of how many yards of material were removed from that area and placed around.
Commissioner, if I may ask a clarifying question? So just to better understand what the proposal is, you would like to, instead of doing the initial, for a lack of better terms, hill, you're going to have to essentially come into the zoning compliance for the basement. You're proposing to kind of have a more level piece of land that the house will sit on. Is that what you're trying to propose?
I'm not proposing anything around the house. I'm not proposing anything around the house. If anything, I'm proposing is on the northeast side, just to reduce the elevation that Mr. Zorda spoke about, that it was holding water from both areas. That's the only area I want to touch there. As far as everything else, it's existing.
Out by the road.
Yeah, which is out by the road. Around the house was the material that was brought out. It was excavated out and then brought around the house. Did I answer that, Steve?
I don't think I'm quite following. So you're saying you're proposing to change the grade closer to the road as opposed to closer to the home itself?
Well, because don't you have to change the grade around the house in order, right?
Right, right.
To
But
fulfill
that's,
the,
that's,
Big problem, yeah.
Yeah, so we did change the grade around the house as shown on the plan, right?
okay, so that did change, all right.
But it's not correct.
It's not what was originally approved.
Correct.
And it's lower than what is.
It was originally approved lower than was required for a basement area for a minimum of 3 feet below grade. Now, that material that was taken from the driveway area is now around that portion of the habitable space to raise that grade, to put that portion of the interior of the home 3 feet below grade.
Right, so that's my question, is how much did that increase?
In quantity,
No, how?
grade?
Yeah, grade,
Approximately 3 feet.
3 feet. So how does that change the hydrology of the property now? Is there more water going to the road?
It doesn't.
How can increasing the grade not change the hydrology? 3 feet, that's three feet.
It's relatively flat outside of the 3 foot area, which is less than 10 feet around. It turns flat. You'll see that hatched line going through, that's a 118 contour.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, so, and if you look to the next line, it's basically flat through there, the 118. There's no other additional grading on that contour there. There's a 118 in the middle of the wetlands area.
this is the page he's
And there's a 118 out on the street, the 118.6.
It's the other page.
You can see the depressions are at 116. Okay, the brick,
Yeah, I see that.
yep.
It's that page there.
Is he talking about that? I thought he was talking about. And Reinhardt, just to clarify once more, are you talking about page 204, or are you talking about page 304?
S1.
S1. All right, so you are talking about the third page. Thank you.
Yeah, I need a scale here.
You may have that. Perhaps a piece of that.
You have an architect, you don't have an architect scale on it, do you?
I don't, yeah.
I did not think to bring any scales
I
tonight.
got it here. So it's about, that's right, I got it right here. So it's about 40 feet out. So it's 2 foot 8 inches, 40 feet out from the, or, 2 feet 8 inch drop, 40 feet out from the house. So from here. So from here, yeah. Is that
2%.
2%?
I just feel like a lot of this feels like just putting lipstick on a pig to try to make it up to code to sell. And I just, there's a lot of open-ended pieces here that I even feel like we don't even have solid answers to on how the drainage is gonna get mitigated and how just putting dirt on a wetland and putting a house on it's kind of just gonna suffice. Like, until I see like a soil report and a gradation report saying that it's okay to do that, I mean, there's a lot of just stuff up in the air right now that it's tough for me to make a decision and say that this is okay to do, and then see in 6 months, going to work that the place is flooded again, and that the sucker that has to buy the home is pumping water out of their basement, which isn't even up to code, and water out of their driveway to get their car out of the muck. It's gonna get all washed out anyway. I don't know. I'd like to see a revised stamped drawing saying that this is our proposed method of approval, and then have us look at it and be like, or even get a personal third-party architect or something involved, because I have a lot of questions. Kevin's obviously got a lot of questions. I don't know about the rest of the committee, or Rick, I know that you have a lot of experience in this. Like, I know there's a lot of documentation flying around that obviously got lost in translation too, which doesn't help. I'm in construction contracting, and there's subcontractors just say stuff all the time, and it's like, yeah, but show me it's gonna work, and then sometimes it doesn't. And then you get cost implications, and then time implications, and then it costs money, and then you're on a downhill spiral, because now the house isn't even up to code, and then that homeowner now has to file complaints or do renovations that should have been done here. It's gonna cost a lot of money to fix anything, especially when you put all this stone in to just rip it all out again for an aesthetic look that, I mean, right now, it doesn't really do much, clearly. Because the minute that it snows, it's gonna flood again, I know. I know that you live close to there, but, I mean, I personally have a lot of questions and issues that, unless I see other documentation saying otherwise, I can't really make an executive decision on this. I mean, feel free to comment otherwise, but, I mean.
I agree with you. I think there's too many outstanding questions and thoughts and
Yeah.
concerns.
I've gotten so much, I've heard so much, and I agree with him. I'm just confused now. I thought I understood. You've explained it well. It's not your explanation, but there's just so many things that I'm not following. Like the foundation is lower than it's supposed to be, and that it's a flat lot, so you're going to have water anyway, no matter what you do to it. And they probably should have looked at it closer when they first approved it years ago, years and years ago. But now it's too late, and we're kind of stuck with it. Like he said, lipstick with the pig. It's like you want to do the best you can, but you don't want the people getting stuck with something.
Yeah, like, we want you to build your house and have it be perfect, but it's just, it was built right in the most wetland you can get in Enfield. I mean, that I see regularly anyway. I know that I live on the south side of town, but, yeah.
I do have a question. I've been sitting here listening to everything. The Oliver Road site, everybody knows, that's been a muck. The Post Office Road, you made the comment that you own the properties at 92 all the way over. Where is that water crossing Post Office Road that goes behind 92? Has anything been changed that dramatically back there where it's holding up water on the Oliver Road site?
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't have anything in front of me, but I'd like to know where, I know there's an area in there where it does cross post office.
Which is off our property, it's really,
Yeah, I don't know where we cross.
Yeah, but if the water runs off into the road or somewhere where it's not supposed to, then the town eats that, if it's not mitigated
Well,
right now.
that's not this site,
Yeah,
though.
that's-
It's
yeah,
not-
that-
It's
that's
not
the site.
pertinent to this.
Well, he made the comment. He made the comment that he owns 92 all the way over, and I know there's a stream right in that area where if 92 impacted that stream in any way from going in or coming out of the property that we're talking about, even though on the other side of Oliver Road, there is another parcel.
It's not pertinent to this one.
Well, I see what you're saying.
I know what you're saying.
I understand what you're
but
saying.
it's- Yeah, we can't really consider.
Yeah,
so
to go back to it.
just to be clear, this plan doesn't deviate in a material way from the plan that was approved by this body. Okay? I've heard that comments that, the homeowner's going to get stuck with this house in some way that's going to cost them money down the road. I've been building in this town since the early 90s. Ginny can attest to that.
Yeah, I'm not questioning your.
Okay, so I
Your
built
credentials
Misty
at all.
Meadows, and I built a lot of other subdivisions in town. Misty Meadows was probably one of the larger ones outside of the one that D'Addario did, and that was in the 80s. Those houses enjoy the highest resale in town. Okay, the house at 100 Post Office is going to be one of the highest resales. 92 is going to be one of the highest resales.
So that's,
Okay, so the quality, I somehow, it's,
I think the issue is that there's too many outstanding questions.
I'm not questioning the quality of your work. It speaks for itself.
I don't
You
know that it's
always
questions, I
build.
think.
but the
I think
comment
they
was
have to
made,
think
though,
about
that I'm going to somehow stick,
I don't.
my
feel
name's
that
on
way.
this.
No.
Okay,
I don't
that I'm
know.
going to somehow stick a unsuspecting homeowner with additional costs because
No.
he's in some field that a contractor and subcontractors work. The buck stops with me.
No.
I'm on my sites every day.
Okay, so, yeah, but the question is there's too many outstanding questions. Too many
We
outstanding,
can
the
tighten
site
all that up,
plans,
but
everything.
materially, this is not a significantly different plan.
Yes, it is.
It's a whole bunch of little things that if they were clearer, I would feel better. Not the quality of the job. Not the quality of the job.
No, I think the site plans need to be definitely correct, and
The more I hear, the more.
the engineering report is needed, that type of stuff, and Rick's questions have to be answered, and,
It looks like you changed the driveway a little.
yeah.
Instead of being straight, it's now angled a little bit.
The material that,
They should show on the plans, they would show on the plans.
driveway's not completed, it's just, the driveway's not completed, it's not in place, that's just.
And I think we have to understand how much they want to grade it and everything else, and bring in,
And-
fill, and
Is the 12-inch pipe also, looks like it's away from the road a little farther up as well, maybe, than
original.
the two plans? It's hard to tell, because they're the same scale, but it looks like depending on where the pipe is.
It appeared to me that the location of the pipe is based on elevation. Mrs. Jordan,
Yeah.
not on distance from the road.
But the two plans look like they contradict each other.
Just for clarification, so what the commission is looking for is, and I understand what Mr. Bridge said, a revised site plan stamped by an engineer showing how the engineering of the new plan works
Yeah.
ignoring sheet 2, let's say, of the old, other than the flared pipe.
Yeah, because it doesn't, I mean, yeah, so that, there's one plan that shows it all.
But
Shows the
shows the
correct-
flare pipe, but shows
Yeah.
but the elevations and everything as it shows, and then our engineer with Chrysler and Jones signing off and signing the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think
Joel-
that would help clarify things, what's going on here.
Yep,
It is signed.
I know. When's the next meeting?
2
Madam Chair?
weeks.
No, is it 2 weeks?
October?
I'll-
I gotta look at the
It's
dates.
not in 2 weeks, so the next meeting is going to be October 7th. That's 3
So
weeks.
10/7?
Yeah, 10/7.
10/7, correct.
And Steve, when would you want that plan in so you can submit it?
Well, obviously, the sooner the better.
Pardon?
Sooner the better.
Obviously, the sooner the better, just so that way staff can have adequate time to review the plans. I would like them ideally by end of day, September 29th. That's a Monday.
9/29.
9/29, I feel like that gives the applicant roughly 2 weeks to make modifications, do some calculations, and then it gives staff that week to review, make comments,
Yeah.
and hopefully we won't need any more modifications of a site plan. Hopefully, any modifications needed can be done as a condition of approval.
What you answer a question for.
But assuming everything comes in nice and clean, 9/29 would be the absolute latest. But a submittal on, now that I'm just thinking about it a little bit more, on 9/26 gives, again, the applicant close to 2 weeks, gives staff ample time for review. And if, for whatever reason, if we do need a resubmission of the site plan,
You got
gives
time
a-
to do it
gives
again.
time for them to give us a resubmission of a site plan if needed
Just
afterwards.
9/26, the middle date, 10/7
Is a meeting.
date.
9/26 would be the resubmittal,
Have the plan,
Submittal date. for
submittal
9/26.
of the plan
Correct.
9/26.
Gotcha.
and then 10/7 would be that next meeting.
Meeting.
Yeah.
And I would just like the town engineer to be clear on what's going on there with the 12-inch pipe, that it's covered with the geofabric and the stone, and that he's comfortable with that, because if he just looked at it and didn't know that that was what's going on there, just,
If he needs to, I can be available for John. I can open it
Perfect.
all up. I
Yeah.
can show him.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that would help. Make sure.
We just want to make sure it's,
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. I may even have pictures of it.
I saw those roofers getting that stuff. Yeah.
And Commission, just one more question for clarification. Would you like I know you stated earlier you wanted to see some sort of engineering report talking about the drainage. Does that still hold true?
I personally would.
Yeah.
Beyond the site plan, you want to see a report regarding the drainage? Is that what you want, said?
Yeah, I mean, your wetland guy basically just said he delineated and just told us what kind of soils were there.
Right.
Is basically all he said, but just something to tell us the hydrology is not going to change significantly.
So you want that engineer to do it, Mr. Davidson?
Yeah, whoever's
I
appropriate.
actually wrote it down, so.
Okay.
Even know how to spell hydrology. Oh, yeah. See what we've done to our English language.
And then would you be able to have a better idea on how much they're gonna increase the grade or whatever? Or?
Well, they know that. We
They'll
know
know
that.
that,
Yeah, we
yeah.
we know that, yeah.
Okay. Just make sure. My notes here.
I'll talk to you about one thing before we go. Something that.
It would be preferred to have one page with the whole modification that they're requesting. So that way there's no 2 pages, no confusion.
Yeah.
This is the modification we're requesting. This is what we want to do. Because I understand that the current page you're showing is what's mostly currently there. But it would be, I'd be a little bit more comfortable.
What you're saying is you don't need the details for the sections, because that's really what, there's 3 pages here, S1, S2, S3. And a lot of it's just details.
But we will still need the, so I will correct myself in saying that we still do need those details, but instead of having 2 pages with conflicting plans showing what's there, one plan showing.
Right. The only thing that I question is whether we can get the soil scientist to put his plan onto the engineer's plan, but we'll talk to him
It
about
could
it.
just be a report, too.
Yeah.
And the first page that you're talking about was the submittal, and I'm not sure, maybe Rick knows what submittal that actually was and how it got referenced in.
So just to kind of show,
That was the
just
224.
to show my thinking. This page has one set of grading,
Yep.
Right. And S1 has different.
and this page has a different set of grading.
So I think what.
That's the
what-
revised one. That's why you asked me that.
That's the main question I want to
Right.
solve is
They were-
the exact
They
grading.
were showing the approved, what was submitted
Yeah.
to Rick, and then the S1, which was the modified, for the purposes of this meeting.
Yeah. So just
I
to,
understand what you're saying. Clean it up, just have one page.
Right.
This is what we're doing.
This is what we changed.
Gotcha.
Again, with the caveat, I'm not so sure that the soil scientist's plan is going to get printed onto the engineer's plan.
yeah, I don't think it needs to be on the plan, it's a report.
Right.
Oh, you want,
I know you
so a
wanted to
narrative
limit
is
the
fine.
number of pages, but.
Yeah.
A narrative would
I think
suffice?
that would be sufficient.
A narrative would?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
not gonna, the soil scientist's not
You
gonna.
know, engineers are very cautious about what they put their stamp on.
That page would have been revised to 8/27/24. The one with, all right, that was submitted.
Make sure we're done, make sure we're
So you're just going to continue it until the next,
Do we have to continue?
don't table.
Well, it's not a public hearing, we just
Yeah.
Yeah.
continue.
Just
We
continue,
motion to
so-
Continue, that's all.
Yeah. I'll have a motion to continue IW number 717 until the next meeting.
Second.
Kevin and Kelly, any discussion?
Thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Sorry to keep on
No,
switching.
no worries.
it.
Appreciate you coming in.
Donna Corbin
gotta-
Savinsky.
Yes.
Kevin Zorda.
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Kelly Hemler.
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Yes.
Ann Collins.
See there?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Okay.
Abstain.
Ken Kaufman.
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 abstain, motion passes. So continue to the next meeting. Took longer than I thought. Oh, there's nobody here now.
Oh, did she leave? Oh, no, she was one of the neighbors, probably.
Oh. So next is the enforcement reports, 18 West Shore Drive, but
Oh, she's with you. Oh, okay, okay.
Oh.
Oh, so we have nobody for this. We still have a cease and desist out there.
So if I'll remind you back to the last meeting, it was the issue of siphoning the water out for irrigation for both 14 and 18. I issued a cease and desist to Mr. Nelson Aiken and Corrine Aiken on, I can find it here.
So that was Dad, right?
That was the
Yeah,
father that
okay.
was here with his daughter. I issued that on the 8th of September. Mailings went out. I didn't get a return yet. We mail them both certified and regular mail. I'm assuming they received it only because I think it was last Thursday or Friday, Stephen started getting calls from a Mark Delaro. It's in my report. He apparently contacted Deep for their take on siphoning water out of a lake. And although Deep did not have any problems with that, it's really not up to them. It's up to the local. And one of the contentions that he was proposing was that there's nitrogen in the lake, which is good for the grass. But we all know that nitrogen around lakes create problems for the lakes. The more nitrogen that runs off, so if they're fertilizing, when they just put down sod, I'm assuming that at some point they're going to put some fertilizer down to protect that new sod. That's going to create more of a runoff situation. We can try to get him here for the next meeting, and if he ignores it, then we do what we need to do and move forward. But I'm assuming that they did get it only because, and I'm not really sure who this individual is, but he had a certain interest in it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be contacting DEEP and wouldn't be contacting us with reasons for allowing the irrigation out of the lake.
Maybe somebody needs to get in a boat or something and go around and see how many people
are.
How many people are doing it?
The issue is, I mean, we had this issue a few years ago when someone that had a landscaping company, if you remember, was siphoning out for their, then going around spraying
Oh,
properties.
right, yeah.
So I don't know of any, since I've been here, permits issued for that type of activity on your
I don't think
part,
we've
so.
done- no.
And for irrigation purposes, that the more water that's going out onto lawns up there and runoff back in, it's only creating more of a problem with the actual status of the lakes.
I'd be curious to see if the Lake Association had a rule about taking water out of the lake.
Well, shortly, I believe they send out a November mailing. We'll contact them prior to that mailing and advise them to advise the members of the association that it's
Right. that
not
they
allowed.
And maybe remind them that if they're going to drop the level of the lake, then they're going to tell people they're going to do that
Seawalls.
they need to come
Repairs.
before us first.
Has there been anyone that went out to
Or
the
at
site
least
since the
check
last
with
meeting?
staff.
I'm sorry?
Has anyone gone out to the site since the last meeting?
I went out there.
Did they stake down the hay bales?
the one
Not
last
as
week.
far as I could tell.
Oh.
No.
Well, I don't think they could because it's on pavers.
Oh, I thought they
Yeah,
said.
so there was,
They were going to move them up.
They
or
were going to
something.
move them up. and
Oh,
then, yeah.
oh, gotcha. I thought that was an agreed upon thing. Sorry.
not much other activity other than what transpired at the last meeting.
As long as they stop laying sod and all that.
And we haven't, as for that, we haven't gotten any type of indication about a modification for your approval of that. So,
Yeah, I'm sure they'd take them time to get the engineering
Yep.
report.
Yeah. Okay. Planning staff report?
I received a email earlier today from Janice Fournier of Kekiwik that the 2025 annual meeting in environmental conference is scheduled for Saturday, November 15th of 2025. It's going to be at the newly transformed courtyard by Marriott Cromwell, located at 4 Sebethe Drive in Cromwell, Connecticut. I forwarded this to our admissions, to our admin. We're discussing if we have the funds to be able to help you guys register, go to the Kekiwik, so keep that in your mind. And you should be looking forward to an email from either myself or Don or whoever, letting you know if we can help you with the registration and what you need to do to attend the event if you do.
Yeah, I already got the.
I've already registered and have my reply also.
That's good. Okay. Anything else?
And that is it.
Okay. Applications to be received. One is IW 718, 117 North Street, application for a map amendment to the town of Enfield official wetland map to be redelineated the wetland area as referenced on the site plan. Joseph LaCory, revocable trust, applicant Joseph LaCory, owner, map 57, lot 200, I-zone. That'd be interesting. Okay. Anything under miscellaneous? Anybody have anything? Or- No. Okay, adjourn, meeting to
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Kevin and Ginny. Any discussion? No, all in favor? Aye. It's 8:09. We are adjourned.